What is up, people of all different types of ages, races, genders, and yes, even you other species out there watching this video. My name is Omega Pro, and today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. More specifically, whether or not it's going to be balanced more around PvP or PvE. Now, for those of you that don't know, PvP stands for player versus player, or your online matchmaking where you're fighting against maybe your friends or maybe even just random people online. Whereas PvE stands for player versus environment. You can look at this as mainly as basically the single player and all the parallel quests and stuff. Now, the reason why I'm thinking about this topic in particular is because in the comment section of my last Xenoverse 2 speculation video, where we were discussing the roster and how important that would be, one of the commenters, one of you guys out there, was talking about how you would like to see the game be more balanced around PvP. And it wasn't only just him, it was a bunch of other people as well that were talking about PvP and just how that matters the most to them. So let's talk about it. So right off the bat, in terms of competitive scale, I don't think Dragon Ball Z will ever be up there in terms of competitiveness. I talked about this very briefly on my last video, but I'll reiterate it here. The main reason is because people mainly want to just be able to pick up a Dragon Ball Z game and play it. Regardless of how you want to look at it, that is the majority of the people that are playing Dragon Ball Z games. They're the people that are maybe just watching Super or just have the nostalgia from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, the movies, or maybe even the movies, whatever the case may be. They're the ones that are just like, okay, maybe I'll just pick up this Dragon Ball Z game and play as my favorite characters and just call it a day. They're not really looking to get really deep and dive headfirst into a Dragon Ball Z game. And this is evidenced by when Xenoverse first came out, a lot of people were streaming it on the live streaming platform called twitch.tv, and the main people that were playing that were people that don't really ever play Dragon Ball Z games like that. They were just like, oh, hey, look, a new Dragon Ball Z game, it's out on PC as well, I'll just stream it or whatever. And it did really well for Dragon Ball Xenoverse. A lot of people bought it, and it was one of the top streamed games when it released. However, those aren't the people that are going to be diving deep into the game and trying to get all these special abilities so that way they can max out their character and be really good in PvP. They were only mainly there for the PvE aspect of Xenoverse. And not only that, I just think that the Xenoverse franchise as a whole isn't about the PvP, but it's more about the PvE anyway. So I think that it's not going to be balanced around PvP. I think it's really gonna mainly be about the quests, and I think the quests and all that stuff is gonna get a lot more interesting and a lot better with Xenoverse 2. I think that is a safe assumption. However, that isn't to say they're just going to leave the PvP just the way it was, like it was in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I do honestly believe that they will tweak it in some ways. Just like with the roster, I still don't believe the roster is gonna be this big, huge, ginormous thing, but it would be stupid to not just build upon it since you've already laid down some groundwork with Dragon Ball Xenoverse. There were a lot of cheese tactics in Xenoverse, even for PvE, not just PvP. A lot of people had problems with PvP, but if we just look at PvE for a second, like Blue Hurricane, for example, you could just go into parallel quests and just spam the shit out of that, especially as a Saiyan, when you can just use unlimited moves as long as you had ki, and then just run through fucking everything. And whether or not you agree with that sentiment doesn't really matter. It was there. And I think there's two ways to look at this. If the drop rates are going to be so fucking brutal in Xenoverse 2 again, then yeah, give me back the fucking cheese. I don't give a fuck, because I'm not dealing with that shit to get horrible drops every time. You know how much times I had to replay one of the beginning missions to get Vegeta's Z-Soul or whatever? I had to replay it literally like 50 fucking times, and it was just one of the beginning ones. It shouldn't even have been that hard to get that, but I still had to do it. And you bet your fucking ass I cheesed my way through that entire thing, because I'm not dealing with that. But on the PvP scale, I think there is a lot of room for improvement, but I just don't think it's gonna come in the way of balancing moves out. Just because the very nature of Xenoverse collecting all these moves, all of these characters' moves, there are hundreds of moves in the game, it would be asinine to try to balance that. And I understand a lot of the PvP players don't want to hear this right now, but I honestly think that's where they're going to be going, because like I said, I think Xenoverse is mainly about the social interaction and the online experience, and maybe even single player experience, whatever you want to look at it. I think that's the main focus for Xenoverse and not necessarily PvP. For PvP though, I think they will tweak it in some ways and make it a little bit more like a traditional Dragon Ball game where we get more than 3 minutes, because that really sucks, and they make it more, maybe even round based or whatever they want to do. I just think that there's a lot of room for an improvement in the PvP, but just in the way that it's handled, not necessarily in the way that it's balanced. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like rating if you did enjoy this video. Also, let me know in the comments, in addition to what you think about PvP or PvE, do you guys like this little camera thing that I'm doing right here, or do you guys prefer it with just some gameplay in the back? Let me know which one you guys like to watch more. If this is your first time here, click that subscribe button. We talk a bunch about Xenoverse, a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff on this channel. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Once again, my name is Omega Pro. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.